My name is April Rovero, and I am the founder of the National Coalition Against Prescription Drug Abuse. This organization was founded in June 2010, just a few months after I lost my son, Joey Rovero, Joseph John Rovero III, to a prescription drug overdose. Joey was a college student, a senior at Arizona State University, when we got that call that no parent wants to get, letting us know that he had been found in his apartment off campus. And we ultimately learned that he had died from a combination of about one pill of Xanax, a pill and a half of oxycodone, and he was just over the legal limit for alcohol in terms of driving. He had consumed that while in a college party, and instead of coming home for winter break the next day as was planned, we had to bring him home in a casket and bury him the day after Christmas. This story is a compelling one for our family, obviously. But what we learned, from Joey's death is that it is extremely important to be educated about prescription drug abuse. We literally knew nothing about it before Joey died, and I'm here to share what I've learned and hopefully have it make a difference in your family so you don't have to go through what we have. We live with Joey's death every single day. We miss him in so many ways. Everything that I do with my organization is centered around the fact that he's gone. And had he been educated, I really believe there would be a different story to tell. The National Coalition Against Prescription Drug Abuse is founded and operates in San Ramon, California. And our primary mission is to prevent prescription drug addiction and overdose deaths through education, policy change, and legislative advocacy. I want you to know that this can really happen to anyone. It isn't just our family. There are thousands and thousands of families across our country that have also been impacted. But there is hope. There is a way for us to turn this epidemic around, and we are focused on education primarily. There is a misconception that prescription drugs aren't dangerous, they're not addictive, and they're not illegal. And I want you to know that I've learned the painful way, losing Joey, that is absolutely not the case. In the case of painkillers, this particular classification of drug is the most dangerous, and we're seeing the highest number of overdose deaths from. People use these painkillers to get high from. And also we need to understand that a lot of people who end up heroin abusers got their start with painkillers because there is such a similarity between the two drugs, and people who can't afford all the pills that they eventually will need to keep their habit going as their addiction gets deeper and deeper move over to heroin. And unfortunately it is in our communities now. It's being smuggled in from Mexico and it's out there, and it's very cheap and available. In the case of sedatives, I want to call out Xanax as a particular drug that we're seeing a lot of young people abuse, and that can be at middle school, high school, and college level. They're getting the pills from their medicine cabinet. This medication is often prescribed to us adults to manage stress, but it can be very dangerous and it is very addictive, so let's make sure we keep those drugs locked up. In the case of stimulants, this medication is definitely being abused middle school, high school, colleges in particular, and it's to get that steady edge on. The medication will keep somebody who doesn't have ADHD, which is the medication is the condition that medication is being prescribed for. It is basically used to study or to lose weight, often to get high from. I've heard of people snorting it just for the high. The other danger with this medication is that it can be addictive. It can cause all kinds of problems down the path. You can actually end up with a heart attack, and all your system is completely ramped up. So it isn't something that kids should consider to be just super caffeine. It's way more than that. In the case of cough medicine, which is the last substance I just want to throw out there, we are seeing kids middle school, high school, and college abuse this cough medicine. We have over-the-counter versions. We have prescriptive versions. There's either alcohol or codeine in them. And what happens is to make it taste better, they're mixing it with Jolly Ranchers or other candy or soda. And they're taking large quantities of it, and there can be some really big downside impacts, including overdose deaths. So we need to lock that up as well. There is a multiplier effect, and what that means is as you combine these medications, especially those that are central nervous system depressants like painkillers, sedatives, and alcohol, The combination effect can slow down and actually stop your breathing. That's actually what happened with my son. Didn't take much, a single pill of this, a single pill of that, a little bit of alcohol, and he stopped breathing. We also have fake pills out there right now, and so we have to be mindful of that. We have medication that's coming in that's being illegally manufactured. It's being pressed into pills, and it's being sold as Xanax or Norco or other drugs that people are thinking are the real thing, and they're not. The overdose rates continue to rise. We see, this last year, 55,000 people died of an overdose, and prescription drugs are very much driving that, as well as the heroin overdoses that we're seeing. Any substance abuse is a cause for concern. We do have gateway drugs such as alcohol and marijuana. And so I think that some parents run into the trap of thinking, well, it's just alcohol. It's just marijuana. It's no big deal. Everybody kind of tries it and they'll be fine. But the reality of it is every young person, young adult typically that I've talked to that has ended up in trouble, that they've ended up with an addiction down the path, they started with alcohol, they started with marijuana, they didn't start with heroin or painkillers even. So we need to be really, really cognizant of that. And again, this can happen to anybody. I have seen so many other families, in the last 7 years that I've talked with that have had the same kind of general experience that we have. They're good families. They had good values. Their kids were good kids. But because of experimental use, recreational use, or perhaps self-medicating because of maybe some mental health issues, or even sometimes taking the medication as prescribed, they've ended up in trouble or they have actually passed away of an overdose, in some cases just from a single pill. So education is absolutely critical. To learn more, please tune in to the other segments of our prescription drug series.